Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of the podcast where we look to reassure you that football is fixable. Alright? Hello Cess, how are you?
Alright.
A lot's happened since the last time we recorded the news.
Yeah. General election. That's going to happen soon.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Should we do a spin-off podcast on politics?
Oh, politics is PIFA.
Alright. Yeah. That sounds like... we could fix it, that's what I'm thinking.
That is true. Yeah. I suppose politics is just as tribal as football. So
Yeah.
we can probably follow the same kind of lines as we do with football.
There's lots of people that they're like lost sheep and they need a shepherd to guide them.
I thought you were going to start thinking a lot of people need some sort of messiah.
You know, like we are for football, we like a shepherd to guide people in the right direction.
Yeah.
So.
Guiding our sheep. Yeah.
Right.
Wow.
Sorry, everyone. We love and respect all of you.
This is what you say about your students all the time, isn't it? They're your sheep. That's what you keep saying.
Well, I'm their inspiration, but I don't call them sheep, no. But anyway, so moving on to the news. So what's happened? So since the last time we actually recorded the news, we've had the European finals, the cup finals.
Yep.
So we've had, surprise, surprise, Real Madrid won another one.
Yeah, this is their 60th or whatever it is.
Yeah, I heard somebody at work said, well done.
Oh, good.
He said Real Madrid and Arsenal have won more European Cups than Chelsea, Man City, Liverpool, AC Milan, all of them. And it was like all of them together or something like that.
Yeah.
And he was like, well done. Well, I was like, thanks.
That's the same as when Ryan Gosling and, Russell Crowe were introducing an award on the Oscars or something. And they were doing this like argument segment and Ryan was like, look, enough of this, like we're better than this. We've got 2 Academy Awards between us.
Yeah, exactly. And also Olympiacos for winning the Europa Conference League or whatever. I thought they deserved a mention.
There we go, that's enough.
Brilliant, there we go.
And that's Carlo's 5th Champions League as well? Carlo Ancelotti, Everton legend.
Oh yeah, it was 2 years ago, wasn't he? Was it Everton?
2-3 years ago. We made him what he is, really. He was... Yeah. He was, like, no one really knew who Carlo... He was just this guy who won, like, multiple Champions Leagues and...
Yeah.
Won in 4 or 5 different leagues and stuff.
I think you would have definitely tougfed him up.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's more thick-skinned now, probably because of the freezing weather or something. It's 7, isn't it? He's a player as well. It's 7 European Cups.
7 in total for his career, I suppose.
It's not bad, is it?
That's not bad at all. I know there's a lot of talk about he's not necessarily a tactical, like a technician. It's more that he gets the best out of the players.
Yeah.
But the thing is, that's a skill on its own, because if you look
Absolutely.
at managers like Jose, for example, he's the kind of guy that gets the best out of players. Did. But he can't do it nowadays, can he? And the style that he had... It just doesn't work in modern day football, whereas Carlo is still doing it now.
Yeah, I think it helps that you've got world class players in every position pretty much. So they've they've just added Mbappe as well, haven't they? So he's got all these great players. But I think that when you've got that many egos in those players, Ancelotti's probably the right man for it.
Yeah,
he just lets them go and be themselves and just creates harmony for them to do that.
Yeah, I agree with that.
There's not many. Pep's maybe the other argument. He's a very rare case where you can actually control those players. But he keeps their egos in check, doesn't he? He sort of creates more of a mechanism, a machine where they all do.
Yeah, but they're a
roles.
Transitioning team, though. Remember, a lot of their players. They've got Modric, Cruz, Carvajal.
Yeah, true.
They're all in their late 30s.
Cruz just had his last game, didn't he? That Champions League final.
Yeah, Modric is 39 now. So it's not like yeah, they're not in their peaks or anything. And then they've got. I know Bellingham is a world-class player now anyway, but he's still only 20 and it was his first season in that team. And he's got loads of youngsters, so it's quite difficult for him to have to embed this new generation in, with kind of starting to think about getting rid of the older generation, but also having to rely on the older generation.
Yeah, I agree with you, but it's not like they're young players coming through the academy, is it? How many academy players are coming through at Real Madrid? It's like, let's go and pick the best young players around the world and just throw them in. I mean, it's a bit easier, you'd think, when you've got a Jude Bellingham you can put in there.
Yeah, but then again, I mean, Bellingham decided he could choose any team to go to, and he chose to go to Real Madrid because he knew it's a draw, isn't it? I'd go to Real Madrid now.
Yeah, it's between them and Accrington Stanley, isn't it?
Yeah.
That'd be the main options you'd be
Who
considering.
Are
they? In other news, City have been in the news a lot recently.
City.
Yeah, they got the 115 charges, keeps getting headlines, but they're also in the news because they're suing the Premier League.
You know what I thought with that? That actually makes them so much more guilty of the 115 charges. Because they're basically saying, hang on, you should be allowing us to do all of these things that you're charging us for, but we're not guilty of those charges.
No. We should be allowed to cheat, but not that we have.
Yeah, it's just... I don't understand why no one's pointed that out, that what they're saying is they should be allowed to do the things that they're being charged for.
Yeah, so Man City are suing the Premier League, and I think this is due to happen next week or something, isn't it?
Yeah.
Or the hearing or whatever it is. And they're suing them for they should be allowed to raise finances how you like, essentially, isn't it? That's the general gist of it, through sponsorships and those kind of things.
It's not necessarily just through sponsorships, but basically sponsorships from companies that are linked to you.
That are linked to your own, linked to your owners and stuff.
So
like
effectively, they say, right, we've got to give you the stadium naming rights. That'll cost you $6 billion.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You could say whatever money you like, if whatever you're willing to pay yourself, essentially. Yeah. And they're not the only team to do it. There's been lots of teams to do it. I know City are in the news a lot at the moment, but Chelsea, for example, have done it as well. I think even Arsenal have done it in the past, but I don't think we've done it to the...
Typical Arsenal, the same level as Chelsea and Man City.
Well, I don't think
Disgusting.
we've done it where we've actually sold property to ourselves and done that sort of thing. But we have sold off things to raise money. So, because, you have different things that you can do. So, but you don't sell it to yourself. That's the thing. I think Chelsea reportedly avoided breaching the PSR. You remember that painful procedure?
The prostate thing.
That you thought. What was it? PSA or something?
Something like that,
yeah. So they want to avoid falling into the PSR sort of limit by basically they sold 2 hotels and 2 car parks around Stamford Bridge. So they were able to get away from their £166.4 million loss that they would have had, got that down to a £89.9 million loss. Yeah. So that falls within the rules, or whatever. It's not right, is it?
No, and I think what City are doing, there's this argument that some other teams could actually side with them because, teams like Newcastle, for example, they got these huge owners, and then all of a sudden they were told, but you're not allowed to use any of the money.
Yeah, so that's the thing, because now these rules have come in since City were bought over and they've been able to spend loads. Newcastle are going through the same thing, but they can't spend. That's the difference. Villa as well, they're owned, but aren't they American owned as well by some billionaire?
Probably.
I think you've got...
it's either Americans or Saudis nowadays.
Yeah, United, Arsenal. We're predominantly owned by these billionaires from either... Yeah, Liverpool as well. Yeah. Whether it's American billionaires or Middle Eastern billionaires.
Yeah. Well, I think bring back the Super League. Yeah. Get the Big Six out of the Premier League.
You're sounding like Coops. This is what Coops said.
Yeah, I actually think more of this now, because then that would mean that Everton's probably going to be the biggest team.
The best of the rest, as you call them.
What can I say?
Great.
And
I don't want to be in a league with just the big cheating...
Yeah, because you'll be towards the bottom.
No, I just don't want to be in there. I want to.
I do.
I want to play proper football.
Yeah, I want you to be.
Oh, do you?
Off. Yeah.
Right. Well, no, that's not going to happen. That's why you and Coops won't. That's why I'm not going to promote you in this podcast to have any real authority.
Promote me in my own podcast. Wow, that's crazy.
Look, any more talk like that, and we're going to have a meeting.
Yeah.
That's some of the big news, but we'll have more to come next time. What we're going to talk about now, though, in the main episode, is England. So yeah, recently we've had the England squad announced. Any notable emissions? Emissions,
yeah. Not carbon dioxide, I suppose.
Not emissions. Omissions. People missing.
Yes.
Any players that you think should have been in there that weren't?
Yeah, I didn't get a call up. I'm quite surprised.
That's true, but I don't know. Yeah, when I first played football with you, you probably were a bit nippier than you are now. You're getting on.
I suppose, yeah. I mean,
you're a bit more cynical now as well. I don't know if that...
Wait, in my tackles or my personality?
Both. I think, you need a more optimistic mindset to,
I see.
to get the best, to be creative on the football pitch, I think.
Yes, so in terms of emissions, I mean, notable omissions, the surprising ones, I suppose, will be like Grealish and
Maddison.
Maguire.
And
Maguire. Maddison as well, yeah.
Yeah, they've all been in the news, haven't they?
Yeah, the thing is, for me, I think it was surprisingly the right idea. I actually agree with Gareth Southgate, which is weird because I haven't agreed with a lot of what Southgate's
no, neither
done.
of us have.
Yeah.
What's wrong with you?
Decision-wise, he's done a lot of wrong. When it comes to what he's done in the background and the results he's got us and stuff, we've said before
how he's changed the culture for the around with the media and everything like that,
and getting us to semi-finals and finals. I'm happy with those things. I think it's just that now he's got the tools to be able to get a trophy, and so that's what we've got to judge him on. But with Maguire, I think it's fair enough. He's been injured. I think he still might be injured now, and he's clearly not going to be fit enough to. At least he's not going to be able to play the group stages. So maybe, why would you keep him for the knockout stages? Yeah. So fair enough.
Yeah.
With Maddison also, I think it's fair enough. The first half of the season, he was brilliant. But then after the long injury, he came back and he wasn't anything special. So again, fair enough.
He struggled a bit for form. He's also, I don't know. I wonder if there's more to it, I know everything you're saying is absolutely right in terms of that could be the reason why Gareth didn't want to put him in there.
Well, I think the main reason is the same reason that Grealish isn't in there. There's too many players in front of him. I think you've got Foden, Gordon, even Eze has played more games. He's been much better, much more effective.
Yeah. He's had injuries, Eze, but he's had a much more of an impact for his club, hasn't he?
He's been on form as well.
Yeah.
And the Grealish that we really want is the Grealish back in Villa. So that's over 2 years ago now, because that was the Grealish that can create things from nothing.
From nothing. Yeah, exactly.
Whereas now he's basically had that trained out of him, and he's played the Pep way. So if he doesn't play the Pep way, we don't know what kind of Grealish is left.
In a way, he would probably play better under an Ancelotti, wouldn't he? Let him go and do his own thing, what we were saying earlier.
Yeah, running free.
Rather than having that kind of specific role, you need to do this in that part of the pitch, which is Pep just has these brilliant players in very certain sections, doesn't he, to do a certain role.
And this is something that we're going to come back to a number of times, I think, in this episode. The fact is, there are too many players ahead of him. So if you think about in front of Grealish and Maddison, you've got Foden, Gordon, Bowen, Eze, Palmer and Saka that can play on, the wing forward roles.
Yeah.
And so you have six players, 2 of them can play, so you've got 4 others that won't be playing, and then you've got Grealish and Maddison. So if they're not even going to be the subs of the subs, then what's the point in having them?
Yeah, I suppose some might argue that is Gordon as good a player, for example, as Grealish? And I don't think he's necessarily has the same name, the glamour, that kind of thing. Grealish going for 100 and whatever it was, million. Something like that for City, wasn't he, from Villa? Whereas Gordon, he's had a really good season. If you think just for footballing reasons, he merits that place, really.
Yeah,
he's done a lot more than Grealish has.
Yeah, it's the same reason why Gordon and Bowen are in the England squad and Rashford isn't. Because Rashford, if anything, has just as big a name as Grealish.
Good point, yeah.
But he hasn't even been picked for the team. You've got to think of form and the impact they've made.
I mean, last
form
season
is a big thing.
Exactly.
Huge thing.
But that's one thing that Gareth hasn't really gone with, is it? For several squads that he's chosen in the past. Yeah. It's always his loyalty to Maguire and it's all the same players all the time. This time it's actually sort of refreshing to...
It is refreshing.
Know that he's chosen players. It surprised me, actually. He's got a few Palace players in there. You mentioned Eze.
Yeah.
Also in defence and midfield. Also...
Walton.
That's it. Yeah, in midfield. Yeah, he's had a really good season. It's his breakthrough season, but it freshens things up a little bit.
His substitute appearance, he played really well there as well.
Yeah,
that's the thing, because you can't just go, they play for a small team, or they haven't played for England before. It doesn't matter. Rooney didn't really play for England much before his 2004 appearance when he was 18 years old, and he destroyed the league.
Yeah, and that was for the cup. And that wasn't when he was at a big team. That was at Everton.
Oh. Wow, I never say anything bad about Arsenal as well. I'm surprised at you. That's a bit disappointed. Yeah.
So, anyway, looking at this team then, should we sort of have a look at what we think the team's going to be, what we think Gareth's going to pick, but what would we do?
Yeah, we're going to have 2 different teams, because we pretty much know that what we think is not what Gareth thinks, because
we're still going to have a back 5 and 3 sitters.
Yeah, we'll have 2 keepers. Yeah,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Should we start with what we think Gareth will do?
Yeah, I think, well, there's a number of them that I think we both agree are like the nailed on. They're definitely going to be first choice.
Well, they can't be nailed on. They've got to be given the freedom.
Hopefully they won't be nailed on.
Yeah.
But they'll be, dead certs to play kind of thing, like to start. And, you know, that list is going to be, you think, Pickford?
Yeah, definitely.
You're going to have maybe Walker if he's fit. That's the only thing.
Stones if he's fit.
Yeah, again, that's the only worry, isn't it? Defensively worries me a little bit.
Yeah.
Because we've got quite a few injuries and things. But you're going to have the Kane, Foden, Saka. I know you might say biased, but Saka's, for me, the best right winger we've got.
I've said Saka for years.
Yeah, you have.
Even before he was born, I've said Saka.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I knew he was coming.
These people recently, I've heard people saying, Palmer, he's had a great season, he needs to go in there instead of Saka. Palmer hasn't, but he's not on the right wing. What are these people talking about?
It's so bizarre. It's like
so many people are saying
it's
it.
like
Even
saying, you know
like
what, Eze's played so well recently, he's got to go in front of Pickford.
Yeah, exactly.
Why?
It doesn't make sense. You know, you think, he could do a job that. Yeah, but is he going to do as well a job that he's done at Chelsea as Saka does on that sort? Saka's our best right
in the position that Palmer hasn't played, and also this whole idea of trying to shoehorn Palmer on the right instead of Saka, and having this argument of two top players on the right hand side, and then you go, who's on the left, and they go,
exactly.
I don't know who to play. Well, why not play them both then? If you're just going to randomly put Palmer on the wings, put him on the left wing where there's a gap.
Yeah, this is where I've got a bit of a dilemma as well, though, and I'm sure this is a dilemma Southgate's having to face as well. He's got Foden and Bellingham that are kind of better in that central role. Going on this season, Foden's been amazing in that central role. Bellingham's been the best player in Spain.
Yeah.
So who would you put there? I'm sort of... So Bellingham's got me nailed on too, right?
Yes.
Maybe I shouldn't say nailed on, but yeah.
Getting all biblical now.
Yeah.
No, I think the thing about Bellingham and Foden is I don't think they've really played in the same position.
Biblical. I get it.
There we go. Yeah. That just cost the international joke line, didn't it? It just took a while.
Hey, I get that.
Yeah, so Bellingham hasn't really played in the same position as Foden, because Bellingham's actually kind of played a false nine role almost.
Yeah,
they didn't have a striker, so they had the wingers that would make way for Bellingham to find space in the middle. So actually, I would say if you're going to play them both, then Bellingham will probably be in front of Foden if you're going to play them in the positions they played in the league.
Interesting.
But
I wouldn't have them on the wing, though.
I wouldn't have them on the wing. I wouldn't have either of them on the wing.
No, well, that's
because I think Bellingham's best position is actually still in the middle next to Rice, basically.
I'd have him box to box, so he has a chance to go up and down, yeah.
Yeah, because if you play him in the position that he played for Real Madrid, then you wouldn't have Kane playing.
Exactly. Yeah,
because the whole point is that he gets into the spaces where Kane would be, where the striker would be.
Yeah.
So all these people that keep on saying, he should be playing where he played in Spain. No, that doesn't make sense at all. So put him with Rice in the middle, Foden in front of him, Kane in front of that.
This is the thing. I think so. Rice would be sitting, and that's quite likely Gareth's going to do that, isn't it?
Yeah.
So in terms of Gareth, are we going? So Gareth's team first, really.
Yeah, Gareth's team first. Yeah.
So we got Rice sitting as like that pivot role, which the role he kind of played at West Ham, even though he's probably shown this season he's better at the box to box. But Bellingham, you're not going to put him there instead, sort of thing.
No.
So you have Rice sitting.
Unfortunately, we haven't got any players called Pilau or Egg Fried to sit next to him. Yeah.
Or curry and rice or something. It could be a curry. There must be a...
I also thought with the centre backs there, I really wished we had another player called Sticks and or something.
Sticks and Stones.
Sticks and Stones. Yeah.
Oh, that'd be class, wouldn't it? So yeah, I mean, if Shaw's fit, he's going to be on the left, isn't he? But otherwise, you could play Trippier there. So it's going to be one of those two. Gareth's going to put, you'd think. Walker on the right if he's fit.
Yeah.
You're going to have Stones, and who's the other centre back that you'd have then?
One other. I would have put Branthwaite in.
But he's not chosen, is he? No. I was surprised at that.
That's something I was surprised at, considering that Maguire wasn't picked. I thought if you're going to have someone who's been on good form, has a lot of energy, has shown he doesn't really get faced by injuries this season at the very least, and is humongous. No one's going to win headers from
massive.
him.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's just his know-how, I suppose, the experience. You think that's maybe a weakness. But he's had a great season. He's in form. Do you just give it a chance? And you've got Stones, who, if he's fit, I think if you've got a reliable centre back next to you, because it's very much a partnership, isn't it?
Yeah.
Then I'd be saying, okay, Branthwaite, but that's obviously not an option. He hasn't chosen
I mean, there's Dunk and Gehi, I suppose you can use for. They've got a bit more experience and know-how. What I would have done if I was Southgate, and we're talking about Southgate's team, is I would have used the friendlies to look at how good Branthwaite would do.
Yeah, he doesn't ever do that, does he?
He gave Branthwaite like half a game or something. That's it.
Yeah.
It's so he's left it too late, and he's kind of ruined the chance for Branthwaite to get into the team,
to build any chemistry in that. So this is the thing. So we want this episode to actually fix what Southgate's going to do. So the problem that we need to raise first is he's likely. Do you think he's going to have one pivot player? Because he normally has two.
He normally has two, and I think he's going to try and do something like that.
Yeah, that's what I'm worried about. We've got some of the best attacking players in the world at the moment.
Yeah,
but he's going to make them really defensive, isn't he?
Yeah, so everyone's agreed that our defence is the weak point, I suppose, of the England team. And what I think he should do is focus then on getting our best attack. Offence is our best defence. We pin them back, get the other team to have five in the back and two pivot and all that stuff. But what I think Southgate will do is he'll try to mitigate the weak defence
by guarding it by everyone else.
He'll probably do something like what I would want, Bellingham and Rice in the middle, but then he'll probably tell Bellingham and Rice to actually hold back, something like that. So some way to stifle the attack.
That's the thing. That's what I'm worried about, because then you've got Kane, Saka, and everything. They're doing what they're not best at. I mean, Saka works really hard. He gets back and he helps the team, but that's not what he's best at. What he's best at is getting the ball on the front foot and taking it down to the far side where he can cut both ways, left foot, right foot, creating issues. Remember what he did to France in that?
And Italy.
And he did. Yeah,
he did so well that he was taken off by Southgate. He said, "Saka, you are causing the most problems. France are scared of you. They've changed tactics a couple of times. Well done. You can go and sit on the bench now."
So what I think Southgate's going to do is probably something like that. He'll start Saka and he'll say, right, but you've got to do loads of defensive work.
Yeah.
So it would be kind of like a 4-4-2 formation or something, probably.
Yeah.
But at the back, so back four, if they're all fit, so it's Walker, Stones, Dunk, I would probably say.
Dunk, yeah.
I think he would do, So, I think he'll choose... I would probably choose Gahey. He's had a better season than Dunk, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Brighton have had a very up and down season.
Yeah, that's true.
So I would probably say Gahey with Stones.
Yeah.
And then if Shaw's fit on the left, otherwise Trippier.
Yeah.
That's what he's going to do, I would think.
Yeah.
And then midfield, he'll have, like we say, Rice, probably Bellingham sitting quite deep. We've got other midfielders who are quite sort of central. When I looked at the list, actually, it was quite a small list of midfielders.
I'm worried that he's going to choose Trent in the middle. Yeah. I like Trent in the middle, but I don't like the idea of having Trent in the middle sitting back because he's not reliable.
Defensive minded.
Yeah.
That's his weakness, if anything.
Yeah.
He's great creativity wise in going forward and putting that long ball over. Unless we play on the counter. Do we play a more counter based approach? Do you think Southgate could do that?
What I think the team he'll pick is probably similar to what we would pick, but he would just do it in a different way. So
same players but different
tactics. So Bellingham and Rice in the middle, Foden in front, then Kane ahead with Saka and maybe Palmer on the left hand side. Mm-hmm. He might swap Foden on the left with Palmer in the number 10 role, something like that.
Yeah,
it's very similar to the kind of attack that we would probably choose.
Yeah.
However, I think he would want people to be sitting back a lot more. So he would want Rice to be very much the Makelele kind of role.
Forward.
Yeah, he would want Bellingham to have at least a foot in defence and then try to attack. But if he's going to attack Foden, you need to make sure, or Palmer, you need to make sure you hang back. He'll probably say to Kane, Kane for Tottenham, he always liked coming back almost to the midfield.
Yeah,
which
becomes
is decent.
Kind of number 10, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's decent for Spurs because Spurs play quite an attacking, flowing game. So other players kind of fill up the attacking role. But I think what he would do is he would tell Kane he can come back, and then everyone else has to come back as well.
Yeah,
so,
that's the thing. At Tottenham, they had players that would run past. So Son would run on, and Kane would then be able to get the ball through to him and that sort of thing. So it sort of overlaps Kane. But for England, our players we don't need that.
No.
So Kane needs to really be the number 9, doesn't he?
The one thing I would say about this time round, I think I mentioned it a few weeks back, I think this is his last, not necessarily last chance, but last tournament that he'll be, whether he'll win it or not, I think this is going to be his last tournament.
I agree.
He'll either go out on a high, or he'll think, no one really wants me here anymore, I'll leave.
Yeah,
So
I
either
agree.
way, I think he's gone. In which case, the squad he's chosen, we've both said we're quite surprised with a lot of the omissions. Actually, we probably agree with it. So it could be that he's just thinking, this is my last chance. Maybe I'll just do what everyone keeps saying. Maybe I will go all out. Maybe I will do an attack.
It's bold. Very bold move.
And I mentioned before, didn't I, that what I think we should do is we should be top heavy, really. Our best players are in attack. So why don't we just utilise and point everything towards the attack? And I'm not saying let's get 10 strikers on the pitch. But I think what we should do, instead of stifle the defence, stifle the attack, we shouldn't be stifling England's best talent at the expense of our attackers. Because England, at the moment, we are attack heavy. All of our best players are at the front end.
Yeah.
So we shouldn't be going, well, in which case, we should just pluck out a lot of these attackers in order to help the defence. We should be saying we need to pin back these other teams. You know how, like, the top teams, Man City, Arsenal, when Arsenal, Man City and Liverpool were playing against each other, none of the top teams said, right, we'll put 2 pivot, 5 in defence, we'll park the bus. None of that. It was all-out attack, isn't it?
Pretty much.
It was end-to-end, like a basketball game.
Yeah, and there were some brilliant games apart from, and I'll be criticised if I don't say it, when Arsenal played City at the Etihad,
Arsenal were terrible.
We sat back.
Ugh.
Arteta was like, well, the last few seasons we got beaten 4-5, 6-0. We're going to make sure we get at least a point. And that's what we did.
That's true, actually. I forgot about that. That was.
But other than that, out of all the other, so 6 games, 2 each between it, whatever, they were all pretty much attacking wise. So 5 out of 6.
Whereas you can understand the lower teams, they would kind of park the bus in order to try and stifle
catch you on the
attacks.
counter. And that links me to saying, I would say that's the best way to do it. I'm still not convinced that's what Southgate would do.
No.
But I would do that if Walker is fit, because he's got the pace to be able to get back. If Walker's not fit and we're playing Trippier or Trent or something like that at right back, then I would probably think of maybe a more defensive counter-attacking approach.
Okay.
Because I think it would just, if you're
even with our attackers, you have a counter-attacking.
There's one more dependent on sort of factor in that, and that is if we're playing a top side. If we're playing the lower sides, I'd be wanting to be on much more on the front foot. Even if Walker's not fit, whoever we have at right back, I'd want to be playing mostly in the opposition's half. But against, say, France, for example, with Mbappe's pace and that kind of thing, I think if Walker's not fit, then I think we need to sit deeper. That would be a bit foolish.
I don't know. I still feel as though if you look at the teams that, like the first teams that France and England have, it's not too far off. They probably have a bit better in terms of the defence. But I think we have
Saliba now, haven't they? They've actually chosen him, I think, now.
But if anything, I think we've got just as good, if not better, attackers. They have got Mbappe, but they haven't got 11 Mbappes.
No, true.
They've only got 1.
He's a one-off, isn't he? He's probably the best player on the pitch if the 2 teams are playing. But across the rest of the players, where it's probably
they're not going to have anyone better than Kane. Not going to have anyone better than Bellingham. Not going to have anyone better than Saka on the right-hand side.
And in midfield, I think Rice is probably better as well. So.
Yeah, exactly. So I would say we've got just as much right to be the attacker as they do. It's just the problem is, England's not usually in a position where we go, have we got the best team?
That's the thing.
Are we the attackers?
For the first time, we're actually, this isn't just England fans talking. I think, I mean, it is, but I think we actually are possibly the best. I mean, evidence to support that is that the Opta predictor, the supercomputer that predicts everything,
which is always right,
which apparently is always right. Well, until it changes its mind. Yeah. In the title race, it changed its mind about 6 times. But it basically said whoever was top of the league, they'll probably win it now. But England have a 19-point-something% chance, and it was just higher than France. So we are predicted by Opta to be
19%, and that's the highest.
That's the highest, yeah, because it's spread 19%. Spread across all the teams.
Oh, I see. Right. Okay.
Yeah, so we've got 19-point-something% chance of winning it. I think France were 19.1 or something, so it was slightly below whatever it was. We edged it, so
Well,
according to Opta, so we're going to win it.
Yeah, and I think one of the main things about England not winning the tournaments since 1966 has been mentality.
I think that's it. People underestimate that.
They really do.
It's getting over the line. It's that really difficult kind of when the game's really tough, when you're having to grind out, because we've got brilliant players, but they're not going to be playing brilliant football all the time.
Yeah, Real Madrid won the European Cup the Champions League this season, and they weren't the best team in
Man
the
City
tournament.
were better than them.
Yeah, they got destroyed by City, but it was the mentality, wasn't it?
Yeah, got them over the line.
Same as Bayern Munich winning over Arsenal.
Ugh,
same thing.
Didn't mention that.
I mean, Bayern Munich were far better. So I think mentality matters a lot, and I think we need to go in with the mentality that we are probably the best team and we could pin any team back. Because if we don't and we think, oh, we're going to play France, we better play defensive, then we're just going to go straight back to this idea that we've got to be the smaller team. Oh, big France.
Yeah. Well, they are. I mean, they win more trophies. They won was it World Cup 2 World Cups ago? I mean, so they've got that know-how. Even if it's not the same players, it's almost like the club lifts the players. I just don't think that once you've won your first one, more seem to follow. But it's getting over the line for that first one, and it's been how many years now? So almost 50 years, isn't it? Since the So we'll get the Three Lions song coming out, and it'll be 50 years soon. Yeah. So yeah, that's the main thing. So in terms of the problems, we think that Southgate's likely. I don't think he's going to be that bold. I think he's going to be more defensive.
Yeah. He was a defender, and so he thinks of defence first.
And in his defence, he's got us quite far with those tactics.
Yeah.
Excuse the pun. Yeah. I would, though. So can we get on to the fixes?
Yeah.
Right. For me, I'm going to be even more bold, and I'm going to put...
Yeah, you haven't got much hair, have you?
Woo! What? I'm going to put Mainu next to Rice.
Okay. Instead of Bellingham.
Yeah, I'm
putting Bellingham on the bench.
No,
wow,
Bellingham
that
starts.
Is bold. Well, thanks very much for listening.
wait, why are these people taking me away? Right, no. Instead of Palmer, I'd have Palmer on the bench as maybe an impact player to bring on. And around the different games, you might change the team occasionally and stuff. But my main team is going to have Mainu and Rice.
Okay.
So with a chance of Rice being able to go box to box as well, and then we're going to have Bellingham more central. And then I'm putting Foden more on the left.
When you say more central, do you mean...
like a number 10 kind of creative midfielder kind of thing. But he's still going to drop back and he's going to get forward. So he's still box to box in a way, but he starts further ahead than Rice does.
Wow, okay.
So we've got Rice with the ability to go box to box, but he's going to be a slightly deeper base position, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And then Bellingham in front doing a similar kind of thing and have that creative ability outside the box. Foden... we know can play on the left. I know he's been amazing in the centre, but because we've got Bellingham to help bring the best out of all the players, I think Foden would do a good job on the left.
Okay.
Then Kane and Saka, as you'd expect.
Yeah.
And with Mainu, the way it brings in a bit of fresh ideas and fresh blood and that enthusiasm of a young player, but he's got a very experienced player and Rice next to him as well, which is really experienced. I think Rice is only 24 or something, which is amazing when you think about it. But I think, and that would actually give us that defensive stability, but also allow us to have enough attacking talent on the pitch.
And Mainu is someone that, at the age of 18, he walked into the first team and he didn't look out of place.
No, he looked like he's been there for ages. Yeah, he was at that. I know it's you might say it's a short sample, like just watching him in a couple of friendlies or whatever.
But yeah, even if that is the short sample, let's use that short sample as before it runs
Why
out.
Not? Yeah, he's in form. He's confident.
Yeah,
and he's got those young players when they come into the team. And they kind of just want to go and they're fearless, aren't they? They're not scared to do anything. So
the young Michael Owen syndrome.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it'd be good we don't want too many of those because then you become a bit chaotic. But having one or two of those dotted through the team, we've got the rest of the players are really experienced. So yeah, that would be my team.
Okay,
that's my fix for England.
I mean, even that I would prefer than what Southgate is bound to do.
Yeah,
but I still think that's more defensively minded. I like the idea that we'd probably dominate the midfield, and a lot of games, especially against the top teams, if you're dominating the centre, then it actually helps a lot.
Yeah,
you're not having to. You don't run as much because you're not chasing the game.
Yeah, and you're going to have more opportunities. Your top players up at the front four, if you like.
Yeah.
Are going to have more opportunities anyway if you have that, and then Rice coming in late, dropping in late to the box and that kind of thing as well. And that's assuming that Walker's there as well. I'm thinking that Walker's going to be there.
Yeah,
on the left
as well.
Shaw's my first choice if he's fit, but Trippier could play there if not. And I'd have Gahey instead of Dunk next to Stones.
Okay.
So that would be my way of setting it up.
Yeah, I think in defence, we're both thinking the same, and probably Southgate's thinking the same as well, with those four in defence and the goalkeeper.
I reckon he'll pick Dunk, though. I really do.
He does like Dunk. He's played in
I do,
friendlies.
but he's just had a bad season. He hasn't looked the same.
Between the two, Gahey, I would say it's probably the favoured one. So I wouldn't go too different for mine. I think we're both agreed that Foden and Bellingham, they absolutely need to play, and we need to find their best positions. So with their best positions, the reason why I think Foden has been so good this season is because he's been in that number 10-ish kind of role.
Yeah.
And like I mentioned before, a lot of people think that Bellingham played the number 10 role this season. He didn't. He played a false 9, almost a striker role. He didn't play the number 10 role. His best position, I think, is still in the middle, where basically you want him on the ball as much as possible.
So you have him Foden, Bellingham, and Rice in the midfield.
That would
triangle. Be amazing.
Yeah, I mean, imagine if Foden's slightly ahead, but you have Bellingham and Rice. You can play them both as box to box as long as they have an understanding.
One
of
would
one
sit
of them.
in.
Yeah. Either that or tell Rice to sit back. I know Rice has been great as box to box, but he's one of the best in the world as a sitting midfielder, so you can still utilise that.
Yeah.
And so I think having Bellingham in the middle, getting onto the ball as much as possible, is going to be absolutely amazing. It's going to make the other team scared. They're going to change tactics in order to try and stifle him, in which case it gives space to the other players. And on the left-hand side, where you said Foden has played before, I think that's the place that is probably the iffiest, because Grealish or Rashford are normally the ones that play, and neither of them are picked. Quite rightly, we both think.
Yeah.
So I would say that's the position where Palmer would be good, because Palmer, I think, deserves a chance. I don't think many people would complain if they have Palmer on the pitch. He's also right-footed, I think, in which case the tactics nowadays for the wingers, you have the right-footed players on the left-hand side, don't you? And the left-footed on the right-hand side.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So Palmer can still fit there. You can swap Foden and Palmer as well. So, like, you remember when you had the 4-4-2 tactics, 15, 20 years ago, you'd have the wingers occasionally swap over every now and again.
Exactly.
So you can have Foden and Palmer swapping, so that Palmer goes more in the middle, Foden on the left, and they can swap whenever they want. But I think that kind of allows more of a freedom to go forward
and express themselves a bit as well.
Yeah. And I like the idea of, if it's a weaker team, we can just tell Rice to be the sitting guy. Bellingham, you've got more freedom to go forward.
Yeah.
And you've got a bit more choice to say, this is France. Bellingham, make sure you don't leave Rice on his own, but still with an eye to be the box-to-box guy. One of the main reasons why we lost against France in the World Cup was because Saka was taken off.
So he was the player that looked like making a difference.
Yeah.
And the one player.
He was causing problems, and so Southgate thought, well, he's probably a bit tired now. Should we take him off?
I'm pretty sure the French player was like, whew, as soon as Southgate called him off.
Cheers, Gareth.
Cheers, Gaz. Cheers, Gaz. That was brilliant.
Well, merci, Monsieur Gareth.
Oh, brilliant. Is that a sound effect we just brought in there? I would. So I'm completely agreeing with you. Those three, so they would be my choice against the weaker sides. I'm just adding those extra not defensive, more central legs.
No, you're being Southgate-ish.
I'm trying to be a slight hybrid of Southgate. I'm thinking realistically, but also against France, they are good sides. So against those top sides, if we get that far in the tournament, which we obviously would expect, so hopefully, I just think we need to be mindful of it. So I just think Rice and Mainu in that midfield, unless we do say Bellingham. I just need to see Bellingham what he's like when he sits a bit more. That's all. I know he's a brilliant player, but he's great when he's on the ball. He can just run at a team, and they can't stop him. He's just incredible.
Yeah.
So when he actually doesn't do that, and he has to play a bit more mature and defensive and all that kind of thing, I'm just not sure.
We saw him in the last World Cup. That was 2 years ago. So he was only 18, 19 at the time, and we saw him being the guy who would win the tackle and then run it down to the other side and give an assist. And that was 2 years ago. He's faster,
so that was 18
stronger.
months, wasn't it? Because it was the Christmas one, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
but
so I think
fair point.
Yeah, I think he's shown that he's capable of doing that every bit as much as any other midfielder we've seen.
Yeah, and I suppose the what supports that as well as Mainu is not more experienced really than Bellingham. If anything, Bellingham's done it more regularly at that level. Mainu's obviously broke through into the team at United this year.
Yeah.
And it's been obviously a difficult team that he's broken into.
Yeah.
But he's looked brilliant, Maino, hasn't he? So I think he's got the confidence and the ability to be able to, and he's quite a big lad as well.
I love his silky, the kind of the moves where you have to be calm enough that you look as though you're going to be tackled, but actually what you're doing is you're completely skinning the
you're letting
player.
them almost think that they've got the ball,
Yeah.
and then you completely skin them.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is a talent, that guy. I think, and Dan sings his praises, being a United fan as well. He loves him to bits. So.
Of course, but he probably loves Tom Heaton and.
oh yeah, he's still at United.
Bring back Phil Jones.
We've got Jared Bowen. You're not getting him into the team in any way, or is he a sub maybe?
Jared Bowen, not Gerard Bowen. He wasn't named after Stephen.
Or would he be him and Saka rotating on that right wing? That's probably what I'd do with him.
He's a sub. For sure, he's a sub.
But you wouldn't put him on the left. Would you keep him on the right?
Yeah, I would think so.
Some people are just kind of shoehorning them. Is that the phrase?
I think the only kind of people you can try and shoehorn are the absolute best players that you think they have to be on the pitch somehow. Like Palmer, for example, I said possibly on the left because I don't want to shoehorn him at the expense of Saka, for example.
That makes sense. But on the left, though, do you put him into, I don't know, it almost sounds like the Scholes, Gerrard, Lampard thing.
Almost.
Whereas would you rather someone who's actually based like Gordon in that role on the left might do a better job than Palmer would?
Potentially. I just don't like Gordon. No,
right.
No. The reason why I
can
wouldn't
see
say
that you don't have to hit the pillow when you said that.
No, the reason why I wouldn't necessarily put Gordon in, even though he's played well on the left-hand side, is because Palmer and Foden have been, they're probably two of the top 3 or 4 best players this season so far. And I just feel if you put someone like Palmer or Foden on the bench, the other teams like France and stuff will be thinking, what are they doing? Well, why are they putting him on the bench? I think Palmer's good enough this season, especially with his confidence and form this season. If you say to him, you're going on the left, he'll go, yeah, just put me on the pitch, I'll score for you. He's not going to go, I don't want to play on the left-hand side. He'll go, this is my chance at a European tournament. I'll do it.
Live up to the occasion.
Yeah.
You make it, for once, you've made a good point there.
For once,
I think. So, all right then. So, question. Are England going to win the Euros this year?
That is a question. Yeah.
So, moving on then.
Yeah. Shall I answer it?
Do you want to answer that question? Yeah.
So, are England going to win it?
Yes or no, Cess?
No.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. The reason why I say no...
You can't say that to the listeners.
I believe that England can win it.
Well, I should hope so.
However, I think we've got a manager that doesn't know how to win. Doesn't know how to get the best out of the teams.
I was hoping that one of us would be positive on it, but I feel the same. I think we've got the players. I think we have. Yeah. We could win this thing, and if we do, it'd be because of the players, not because of the manager. No disrespect, Gareth. But
he's rightly chosen a squad that we probably would have picked.
Yeah,
that's fair enough. Or bar 1 or 2 players. But I think the problem is that he's shown time and time and again that he will fall back onto this regular idea of either choosing players that aren't right, but it's just his loyal players, or going defensive at the expense of our best players.
Sometimes it's just a moment, certain moments in games where he just makes the wrong decision, a defensive one instead of, like that Saka one we mentioned, for example. Yeah. And also against Italy in the Euros.
Yeah.
When he brought the players off the bench to take the penalties, they only had a minute or two. It's quite a bold move to do. Yeah. But it's just like, you don't tend to see the top managers. They seem to know what they're doing, whereas Gareth Southgate doesn't seem to.
Yeah, the only thing that I think is different about this this tournament, like I said before, is that he didn't choose Henderson, Rashford, Phillips, Grealish, the kind of players that you would have thought he'd fall back on. He didn't choose them, so maybe him not choosing them means that he's gonna actually go all out and play the best players. But I still think even if he chooses the teams that we say, he's going to think, oh, it's 0-0 after 60 minutes. I better take off Saka and put Bowen on.
We need a second goalkeeper again.
He's just going to do something that will stifle us because he'll. I don't know if it's because he crumbles under the stress and he thinks, no, I've got to go back to.
I've got to do it. Defense. We're too attacking.
I've got to call Phillips up again. I know I haven't chosen you, but you need to play. Today you called Conor Gallagher, right? You remember that in Sunday League? you help out a team.
Oh yeah. Your name's like Steve Fisher or something, or something for Ronaldo.
Yeah, the first team that I played for in Sunday League, they told me I had to be Ahmed.
Ooh, right.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't think it's because I don't think they looked at me and thought he looks like an Ahmed. I don't think it was that. It's just that there was an Ahmed that wasn't playing.
Oh, I see. Oh, okay.
Yeah. But yeah, I had to be Ahmed. But luckily, you know me, I'm not the kind of person that causes problems to be booked or have to give my name. So it was all right.
Right. I've seen you being booked a fair few times, actually, as we've mentioned on previous podcasts.
You've seen me be booked once.
No.
Yes, once. 6-a-side, I got sent off.
Well, that was sent off, yeah. You were booked once in Sunday League, weren't you? I swear.
I've never been booked. Thank you very much. Right. And I'd just like to say the Sunday League sending off, no, not the Sunday League, 6-a-side sending off, in case people are thinking, wow, he's taken it too far.
You were being disrespectful to the ref.
Was I?
Yeah.
So the ball went out of play, and this player took a throw-in. Was it throw-in or a kick-in? I think it was a kick-in, wasn't it, in Sunday League?
So it's 6-a-side, yeah.
6-a-side, yeah. So they kicked the ball in as opposed to a throw-in. And apparently I was standing too close to the kicker. I was about a metre away, and he said I should have been 2 metres away. So he sent me off. Yeah. That was it.
Rightly so.
It was unbelievable.
I was annoyed because it meant that I was playing as well. So we were down to 5 men instead of 6.
Yeah.
So thanks to you.
All he had to say was, hang on, take it again. Take one step back. But no, he decided to send me off for the rest of the game.
I just one day hope to, by now you should have realised, being respectful, being able to follow the rules.
You're
it's
right.
just you can.
Because that was a great ref.
He was a brilliant ref.
You're right.
He definitely didn't talk to the other team when we're during the middle of a game. He'd be over talking to people on the bench and stuff.
Yeah, he'd actually be off the pitch chatting to the guys on the bench.
I remember once one of us got tackled. I can't remember who it was. Ref, where is he? Oh, he's over there. He's chatting to the other manager on the other.
Yeah, I had a go at one of the guys that slide tackled me, and the ref told me he was going to send me off for having a go at the guy who tackled me. And I was saying, you should have just been watching the game.
I saw him last week.
Oh wow!
I played on that Wednesday in the team that I don't know if I should say because we get loads of paparazzi outside.
Our fan might
taking
find
pictures.
us.
Yeah, and they'll be like, we'll be on the Sun or something, the newspapers and things.
Yeah,
but I saw him. He was in the game, so as our time was finishing, he was there. So.
Wow!
There he was. I saw him. Yeah.
Still going.
The evil guy. But I know that Gareth, going back to Gareth Southgate, I know that he listens to us. So this is where I'm actually going to change my thinking. So my initial thought was with you that I don't think we're going to win it because of Southgate. What makes me think more positively, because, to be fair, you've been quite negative and argumentative.
No, I haven't.
So... that was quite quick.
Thanks.
I'm going to actually...
No, it
wasn't. I'm going to be more positive. And that is... so I think Gareth has actually listened to us. He's got Trent as a midfielder on the list. If you look at the England squad, Trent's down as a midfielder, which is something that we suggested.
Yeah, we've said it for so long, haven't we?
So because of that...
By so long, I mean not that long.
Yeah, it's been longer than Gareth Southgate's had him as a midfielder.
Yeah. So
it's clear that he's... We always say every week people that have copied us. Now the England managers copied us.
Yeah.
We said a few weeks back, at least, it's been at least a few weeks, that Trent should be in midfield, not defence, because he can't defend. Can you edit that out?
But he really can't.
No, but they can hear this. So he's in midfield. So that tells me that he's listening to us. So that gives me hope that he's listened to this episode.
Yeah,
so
that is true.
Because of that, I'm going to change my initial thought. I think England could win the Euros.
So what you're saying is that we are the reason why England are going to win the Euros.
Yes.
And on that bombshell.
Thanks for listening, everyone. If you could like, share, and please do subscribe. We're gradually building our sheep, our fellowship, following.
Yeah, following.
There's more of you.
We have so many more countries listening to us. We have German listeners, French listeners. So guten Abend and bonjour. I don't know how to say good evening in French, actually. I should have said hello in German, because I know hello in... Damn.
So I apologise for Cess. Thanks for listening. Please do subscribe and share to all your friends so let's save England. Or Germany or France, if you're from there. We'll save you too. Bye, everyone. It's goodbye from me.
Goodbye from me.